Everybody, Sean Holsinger here from holsingersflyshop.com, bringing you a wet fly pattern this week. Haven't tied many wet flies in a long time, and I figured I would share one with you. This one is one that was actually brought to my attention by one of my customers that had me do a custom order. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it at the end of the video, but now I'm going to jump into tying it. You're going to see a picture of the fly, the material, and then the video on how to tie it. Here's the Shakey Beeley. Okay, in the vise here you see the Shakey Beeley. Very cool wet fly pattern. Going to be a good searching pattern for me. I really like the looks of this fly. For a hook, I'm using a Daiichi. This is a 1260 size 12. Put that in the vise there. And then I'm going to put some thread on. For thread, I'm just using some Semperfli wax thread. This is 6/0 wood duck. Use whatever color you have. I've just been using the wood duck lately, and it'll work. Any brown color, I should say. Got that on there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put part of the tail on here. And for the tail, I'm using some Krystal flash. This is about, I don't know, 7-8 fibers here. And I'm going to stick it out over the front of the fly. And what I want is about half the length of the fly sticking out past the eye. So I'm going to measure that, and then I'm going to move that up to where about half the length sticks out over the eye of the fly. And I'm going to wrap that up to the eye. So once I get that wrapped up there, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to wrap this back towards the bend. And I want to stop about right above where it hangs down there where the, the barb would be. I'm used to tying barbless, couldn't think of the name. Now, next thing I'm going to use for the tail, I'll cut this off. I want about the same distance for a tail as I have sticking off the front. Maybe a hair shorter. Next thing I'm going to use for the tail is some wood duck. This is Mallard dyed wood duck. And I want a nice little clump here. Not too much, but I want all the tips lined up. So I'm just going to take a nice little clump off of there. Keep those tips lined up. Pinch them all together. And we're going to lay this right on top of that Krystal flash and tie that down. And that's what it's going to make our tail. It's going to give us a little bit of flash in that tail. And for me, I'm fishing this as an attractor fly, so I like a little bit of flash in there to catch the fish's eye. Trim that off, and now we're going to put our rib on our fly. For the rib, I'm just going to use some copper wire. This is some Brassie sized UTC Brassie copper. Wrap that on back there to the bend, back to your tail, and then we're going to put some dubbing on. For the dubbing, I'm using some Squirrel dub. This is natural gray. The original pattern, I saw it tied like a sulphur, and it used like a cream or a yellowish color. It was more towards a sulphur. This is a little bit big for a sulphur, but I'm planning on fishing this during the March Brown hatch, so I'm going to tie it like I'm going to fish it as a March Brown. So get this on there pretty nice and tight, and then we're going to start wrapping that forward. So go right back there to the tail. And wrap this forward about 2/3 of the way up. Don't make it too thick. Keep it nice and thin. Get it wrapped up there. And then we're going to come in with our wire. And I like the counter rib because the counter rib doesn't sink into your dubbing. Just get a nice little segmentation on there and tie that off. Alright, we're going to helicopter that off and get that out of the way. And the last thing we're going to do is, or not the last thing, the next thing we're going to do is create the thorax on this. For the thorax, I'm going to use a little bit of one strand of Ostrich Herl in brown. I'm just going to tie that on there. Tie it on by the tip. Cut off about 1 inch of the bottom of it there. And then I'm just going to make a couple wraps around here and make a nice little thorax. Just to change the color up and make that a little bit buggier. And then we're going to wrap that off. Cut that off, and now we're going to take all these fibers sticking out the front. What I do is I push on it with my finger, and as I do that, I try to separate them so they go in different directions around the hook. And I split them to make them go the whole way around the hook if I can, and then hold them back and make a couple wraps. So it's kind of like a hackle. It's a little crystal flash hackle that goes around the hook there. See, I like that. That's good. Now we're going to put the actual hackle on here. I'm using a grouse wing. Use whatever kind of soft hackle you like here. If you have partridge, Brahma, whatever color you want. I'm just going to use some grouse because I have it handy. And I'm going to pull all the fluff off of it. I'm going to grab the tips. And I'm going to grab it by the tips, stroke the fibers back so I can tie this down by the tip. And I'm going to lay that on there. Tie it down a couple wraps. Cut that tip off. And then we're just going to palmer this hackle up to finish this fly off. So, put my hackle pliers on here. I'm going to stroke these fibers back. Get this so they wrap backwards. And then make 2 or 3 wraps. Them going the whole way around there. And then we'll tie it off. So I make like 2 to 3 wraps to tie that feather shaft off. Trim that shaft, and then I'll take all my fingers, preen these all backwards, and make a nice small head on here. Just make sure I get all the fibers going backwards like that. Try not to build up too much for a head. Keep it nice and clean. Make a couple wraps. And then, if you want, hit it with just a little bit of bone dried to tighten it up. And there you go. You got your finished fly. All right, nice looking fly there. It's going to catch a fish. Okay guys, I hope you like this pattern. Like I said in the video there, this is one that was suggested to me by a client. Actually, I had to tie it for the client. And when I saw it, it reminded me of my March Brown pattern that I fish regularly. So I switched my March Brown pattern in Keller's to make it the way I want it, because my March Brown variant that I tie, I catch a lot of fish in the springtime. And this just has a couple things, that little flash, give it the extra flash. I think it's going to make my March Brown variant a better fish catching pattern. The one that I originally seen tied online was tied more to match a sulphur. And it's a little bit big for the sulphur, but it would make a great searching pattern. But I wanted this, like I said, that March Brown variant is a great all-around searching pattern for me in the spring, especially when I get on big water like Kettle Creek. When I'm up on Kettle Creek, I'm always throwing my March Brown variant. That's one of my flies that I have on. The other fly is Match the Hatch. If the olives are coming off, I have an olive on, or a red quill or something like that. But I almost always have up there that big fly is an attractor fly on my tandem rig. This one is going to replace it. I just love the looks of that fly. So hope you liked it too. If you want me to tie any, like always guys, reach out, holsingersflyshop@gmail.com. You need any of the materials, you can find them at holsingersflyshop.com. We love bringing you these videos every week, and if you have any suggestions, please reach out to me. You know, I'm always open to suggestions. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next week when I bring you another video, I'm Sean Holsinger.